Halloween Myths and Facts. Hello, my friends. I'm Scott Leffler from Goosebumps. Just before we begin, make sure you smash the like button, subscribe to our channel, and click the notification bell for new videos every day. Why do we dress up for Halloween? How did carved pumpkins become so important? Are we Americans the only ones who send our kids door to door looking for candy? And why does the last night in October matter so much anyway? These are all questions we've never even thought to ask ourselves. Halloween just feels like such an age-old tradition to us, we don't even think to question it. But this year we've tackled the mysteries behind the holiday. Now it's time to explore more about the myths and facts of this super fun holiday. Myth: people put everything from razor blades to LSD in Halloween candy. Ever since the late 1970s, people have been terrified of their kids' Halloween candy, inspecting it for poison and razor blades. Children from the 1970s to today have learned to avoid taking homemade treats like popcorn balls and candy apples, even from neighbors they knew and loved. But was this really necessary? Fact: this largely never happened, with one chilling exception. Sociologists Joel Best and Gerald T. Hrucci wrote a researched academic paper on the subject, and it turns out that these incidents were almost entirely hoaxes. People made it up for the attention. Kids put razor blades in their own candy to cause a scare, and one poor child who collapsed after trick-or-treating turned out to have a heart murmur. The exception? Ronald O'Brien, who gave cyanide-filled pixie sticks to 5 children in Texas one Halloween. However, these kids weren't strangers. They were his own 8-year-old son, Timothy, and his friends. So while going trick-or-treating is yet to be proven actually dangerous, having a murderer for a father, well, it still is. Myth: Halloween is a satanic holiday. We know some people are concerned about the sacrilegious or even satanic associations with the holiday, and some religious traditions frown on participating in Halloween at all. So is the devil really in the Halloween details? Turns out that's not really where the concept of Halloween stems from. The Church of Satan, in fact, says its members embrace the holiday but don't really feel connection to it. Fact: Halloween's origins stem from several religions, including Christianity. Halloween can be traced back to many religious traditions, including Christian All Hallows Eve and the Celtic celebration of Samhain, which was held for 3 days at the end of the harvest season. Samhain, which means summer's end. The festival would include large bonfires to cleanse the land and say farewell to the year's harvest while preparing for the cold winter months ahead. Myth: Halloween started as a costume contest. Given our cultural love of Halloween costumes, both for adults and kids, it's easy to see where this rumor comes from. While we may love our cats, sexy nurses, Disney princesses, Marvel superheroes, and other customs, it's definitely a big myth that Halloween started as a costume contest. Fact: people originally started wearing costumes to confuse the spirits. In some cultures, it was believed that the veil between our world and the spirit world was at its thinnest during Halloween. Because of this, people feared the presence of evil visiting them. To hide themselves from the spirits and have protection from them, they would dress up in disguises. The thought was that an evil spirit couldn't find a person if he was disguised as an evil spirit himself. Myth: Halloween is only about the scares. Given that Halloween is when scary movies are released and all the decor seems to feature skulls, skeletons, ghosts, and ghouls, the idea that Halloween is only about spooky and scary stuff is totally, reasonably misunderstanding. But it's not historically accurate. Fact: All Hallows Eve was a time to pray for lost souls. Halloween is also referred to as All Hallows Eve and is celebrated as such in many cultures. Christians historically spent this evening in prayer for lost and departed souls, and the next day, All Saints' Day, was spent giving praise to all the saints celebrated in the Christian faith. Myth: Halloween has always featured pumpkins. When we think about Halloween, a few images spring to mind. A black cat with its back arched, a witch flying on a broomstick before a full moon in the sky, a bag full of candy treats, and carved jack-o'-lanterns dotting porches and stoops across the nation. But this wasn't always the case. Fact: there were no jack-o'-lanterns until the story of Stingy Jack. The story goes that Jack tricked the devil and made a deal that he wouldn't claim Jack's soul when he died. However, God also rejected his soul when the time came. So the devil turned Jack away at the gates of hell with a lump of coal to light his way. Jack placed it inside a carved-out turnip and has been roaming the earth with it ever since. The story came to the U.S. with the Irish immigrants who first came here in the 1800s. Their version was impeded by the lack of turnips in the New World, but they benefited from the abundance of pumpkins. The people instead started to carve up pumpkins in place of turnips, and so they became the version we are more familiar with today.